Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the PlotCast. I'm your host, Nate Slater.
And I'm Chris Sambrook, and today we're kicking off with a look at the first 3 episodes that have been released for season 2 of Gen V. So, whether you're a returning fan or new to the show, Gen V continues to push boundaries and raise questions about power, morality, and what it really means to be a hero
Or a villain.
or a villain. In these opening episodes, we get to see our favorite characters grappling with new threats, making unexpected alliances, and plenty of twists.
And with that out of the way, spoiler alert. So, for a quick recap of season 1 of Gen V, there ends up becoming a giant brawl on campus, Soup versus Soup. Marie ends up blowing off Kate's hand. We got Sam going around beating the crap out of people, just losing his mind. And by the end of it, Homelander shows up, seemingly to end the whole kind of
The
brawl.
woods thing, yeah.
Yeah, he's not privy to the woods yet.
Right, but they seem to think that. Like, that's the general vibe that they give the viewer is like, hey, Homelander's here. He's going to be pissed about the woods. And
Yeah,
then, and of course, you see Marie looking at him like, hey, finally, some backup.
and then
Only
nope.
for him to turn on her
Yeah, which totally you could tell it caught her off guard, which is surprising though. It ends with him shooting her,
with
but
his
laser
eye
eyes.
lasers.
But if you notice where it's hitting her, it kind of like just wells up on her chest. So like, did he intentionally not try and kill her? Obviously not, but still, it was weird to think that he looked at her as the threat first, which is weird. I don't know why that was. They don't even kind of explain it in The Boys either. Maybe they'll explain it in this season.
Yeah,
I mean,
I would get the idea that he was maybe briefed before he went there.
yeah. And maybe he just was like, no, this is the first person I see. It looks like from what he could see, he blew off this other girl's arm. So maybe she is the one who started it. So I'm just going to end it with her. And then it goes to black. And then we go into like a whole kind of montage to where, you know, the kids are captured in some sort of facility, some lab facility. And then end credit scene, it shows Butcher in the woods, like getting an aha moment, like he sees what's going on here. And then we flash forward to The Boys season 4. Everything takes place there. Everything is going to hell. Victoria
Yeah,
Newman dies. Butcher,
right.
the tumor in his head is taken over.
Yeah,
And
the idea of the woods was creating that virus that kills soups, which
yes,
they did use in that season. Nothing went according to plan in that season. So uh honestly, I think the whole next season when we do get into it is just going to be wild card after wild card, especially when it comes to Butcher, who is
yeah,
now seemingly insane with his cancer.
yeah,
But that being said, rolling into this season of Gen V, um, yeah, there were some changes that they clearly had to make to the original script
yeah.
as the actor who played Andre passed away.
Chance Perdomo,
Yep.
R.I.P.
So as a result, his character was one of the central points.
Yes.
So I don't know exactly, where he was supposed to go. I have a feeling that his father is going to fill in a portion of his role.
Yeah.
Um, as those who have watched it, his father makes a return, and we'll get into that briefly. But before we get to that, let's kind of discuss how it opens.
Well,
Uh,
first, before we go further, I just want to finish the recap for the
sure.
ending of The Boys season 4. Basically, some of these characters we did see at the end of The Boys season 4.
Yes.
Basically, after
Kate and
Butcher goes nuts, the boys scatter to the four winds, seemingly thinking that they're going to be okay. But out of nowhere, Homelander's new team goes around and starts rounding up all the boys, and he uses Kate and Sam to help hunt them down. And the only one who's able to get away, by my memory, is Starlight. And the only person that could have tried to stop Homelander at the time was Victoria Newman, who also met her death. So there's a power vacuum, and it seems like Homelander's holding all the cards. and now that we go back to Godolkin, it almost seems like Vought and Homelander are trying to build a soup army to take down the humans.
Right.
Yes.
So when we start this season, we don't start with current day. We kind of start with Thomas Godolkin. He was one of the founders, or the founder of the school, but he was working with the founder of Vought to kind of just work on creating superhumans.
Yeah, we don't know if
Um,
it was a different form of Compound V or new form, the original
well, I
form.
think
We don't
the
really know.
idea of Compound V is that, it's gone through many forms.
Yeah.
Uh, and I think we kind of saw what the first forms did when the scientists that were doing it, they all kind of injected themselves and all met insanely gruesome deaths.
Yes, they got powers for a brief second and it killed them.
Yeah. And the only person who did not inject himself was Thomas Godolkin himself, um, where it actually shows him passing out while trying to reach for the fire alarm. So,
Yeah.
what exactly happens to him there, I have a feeling we'll find out later in this season. But for now, we just kind of have to assume that he's dead, which, we kind of have a little bit of a fan theory that he
Yeah.
may not be.
Yeah.
Um, and that, just even with just time, he, as far as we are concerned, is not a superhuman, and was just the founder of the school.
Yeah.
Um, so from that point on, we also know that they continued to have that laboratory underneath the school, which we then now know it as the woods,
Yes.
which even at this point, as far as we're concerned, the woods is shut down.
Yeah. Which more than likely, well, I guess maybe it would if people found out about it. It probably is shut down because if anybody else that was still there, like Polarity, he knows it exists,
Right.
so he would try and probably put a stop to it. But
Yeah.
uh, yeah, I think it's closed.
Yeah. I mean, just the fact that we saw Butcher there, I mean, we don't know what the time frame was, but I would assume that it was more or less before the end events of season 4 of The
Yeah.
Boys. Um, especially, I mean, why would he be there after they've already
Yeah.
discovered the
So more than
virus?
likely, it was really after the Gen V season 1 and right before season 4. He knows kinda what's going on.
How much time had passed? How much time were they imprisoned?
I'm not
Was it?
sure, I think maybe it was 6 months.
I
I
don't
don't
think it
think it
was.
was very
I think it was
long.
closer to 3 months.
Okay.
Um, but yes. So from what we are told, because we do not see it for obvious reasons, is that the both Emma and Jordan Lee were imprisoned the whole time. At about halfway through that time, Marie escapes. She finds a way and escapes. And there was another attempt at escaping, and that's where Andre dies. He overuses his power. And we had seen previously that there were side effects to his power. And overusing it caused tears that killed him.
Yes.
Um, as far as the release of Emma and Jordan, it came sudden. And I feel like maybe they were supposed to escape originally. And this was kind of like a backup where they were instead just released back into the school upon agreeing to uh, basically a lie and dramatization of what had happened.
Yeah, which is funny because it kinda makes no sense, and it even makes no sense to them. They're still confused by it, like, why?
Yeah,
And the only reason why I can guess is because maybe,
Kate.
um
Kate fought for them. If
yeah,
she is saying what if what she is saying is 100% true, it was really just her trying to protect her friends.
yeah, and
Uh,
my
and it
guess
could
too is
very
that
well be.
yeah, my guess too is that maybe she either manipulated even Homelander into trying to get them out because, all she has to do is touch somebody.
Yeah,
But
but
I
I
don't
feel like she would be too afraid to try it on
yeah.
Homelander.
Which in a way it kind of shows you she probably could take out Homelander given the right opportunity.
Yeah.
Freaking she could just be like, snap your neck. And just snaps his own neck and kills himself
Yeah,
or
he is,
whatever.
of all the superheroes, the weakest willed for sure.
Yeah, so that I don't know. I don't know if she played a part in directly at Homelander or the people there, but my guess is that maybe she could have just said something to Homelander, and Homelander was probably like, "Yeah, it makes sense. We need more soups. Maybe letting them go is the right thing because they are soups."
I mean, if what he said when he arrived at the campus is to be believed as his stance, it was he doesn't want soups attacking soups,
Yes.
turning against their own kind is how he put it. Um, so yeah, the more soups, the better, right? Because I mean, as is mentioned a couple of times in these three episodes, is that humans are still outnumber soups by a significant amount,
Yeah.
enough that even though they have superpowers, they would lose a war.
Mhm.
So it's definitely one of those, you know, don't let the weaklings overpower us by numbers.
Yes. It's kind of like, you know, what is it? Killed by 1,000 cuts. One cut is nothing, but 1,000 is enough to kill you, kind of thing.
Right.
Which makes complete sense. And, Homelander is definitely like they made him out to be the dictator. But on the other side of the coin, Butcher is not very diplomatic right now. So we're kind
Yeah.
of seeing like the underground, I guess, working of soups trying to, the good soups undermine the bad soups is what the first three episodes are kind of like arcing to. Like who is
Yes.
really a superhero and who is really a super villain, which is
And
kind of
yeah,
cool.
I feel like a lot of that might change throughout this season. I think the lines are going to be blurred between hero and villain. Uh, Kate, I feel like is trying to do things the right way and for the right reasons, and for all the backlash that she got for all of what she's done, I feel like she may unintentionally become a supervillain as a result. But it could also be flipped. I mean, we also have Marie, who is easily pushed one way or another with the right motivation from friends to do wrong things. She's been doing wrong things from the start, so I feel like she could easily become a villain, especially with her powers. Her powers are dark to
Yeah.
begin with.
And especially it seems like Dean Cypher is kind of really trying to motivate her to become more powerful, kind of be like the next Newman. Because reality, Newman, her power was really incognito. She could just blow your head off
Yeah.
with just looking at you. And you could tell Homelander feared her. And if Marie could gain the same amount of control over her own powers as Newman did, she'd be just as powerful, maybe even stronger.
Right.
So maybe that's what maybe Dean Cypher isn't a soup at all, which would make no sense, granted how he looked back in the day when she was a kid. But who knows? Maybe he was a soup that had powers and it got taken away from him, just like what
Yeah.
happened to Queen
Queen
Maeve.
Maeve. Yeah. Well, that was more of a nuclear explosion. I don't know how he's going to get caught in that, but he works with labs. So
Yeah,
that's another thing that is kind of pushed on him is that we see that he was visiting that prison lab that Jordan and Emma were kept in. He is someone that is very forthcoming. He doesn't like to lie about things, and he doesn't really care if you know the truth, even if the truth is, in all intensive purposes, bad. He clearly doesn't see it that way, but he does not lie, or at least not outright.
yeah. I mean, he definitely to me seems like he has. We don't know who or what he is really. He's an enigma, but he definitely seems like someone who has multiple powers. Like for me, it definitely seems like yes, he has the power of telepathy because of the way he said Yes, I was there with your friend, so obviously maybe she was thinking that at the time, or maybe not even that. Maybe he just has a way of like touching somebody and getting memories. I don't know. Rather than like Kate, who can control you, he can touch you and gain your memories, which is a
Uh,
possibility. But it seems like he is multi versatile because he definitely said it when Kate was in his house that I know everything or I can see everything or whatever. So he definitely,
yeah, I think it might that phrase specifically might be a mixture of his powers and just technology. I mean, he has
yeah,
access to everything. But no, I think that his powers are probably going to be more physical
okay.
than mental. I feel like they're loading him up to be someone who can fight, um, and be, a force to reckon with. But
Now,
he clearly is a man behind the curtains type of guy, so it could really go either way.
well, now thinking about it, because of how kind of very stoic he is, we haven't really kind of seen him mad. I'm almost wondering. I mean, this is going as a stretch, but what if he's some sort of like robot cyborg kind of thing?
Oh no, no, I don't think they're
I
going that
mean,
route.
because they're already messing with stuff in the past that kind of seemed futuristic or whatever. What if he was like, it'd be weird, doesn't
Yeah.
age really, and he just knows everything because he could be connected to, all the cameras and robotic
Well,
stuff.
Nate, maybe he's a vampire.
I mean, he goes out there in the daylight. Is he like Blade,
Well,
a
maybe he
daywalker?
just has midnight mass.
That's a joke there. If you ever seen that movie, if you haven't, check it out on Netflix. It's really well. It's a
Yeah,
TV show.
TV show.
TV show, really good. Plays Monsignor Pure, whatever his name is.
Yeah. He plays a vampire. Check it
Yes,
out, it's fun.
it's really
But yeah, no, so I'm not sure. No one's really sure what his role is. I'm not sure if he is a character from the comics, so maybe comic readers have a little more insight. But either way, in this, he definitely is the overarching villain, I guess you
yes.
would say, for this season. We will see exactly what his deal is by the end, for sure. Um, but that being said, we have a lot to unpack. So we have the girls getting out, getting out
Well,
of prison, if you
yes.
will.
Girls
Um,
slash guy. Even though he can be either or, but yes.
yes, yes. I believe Jordan referred to it as bigender,
Yeah,
but everyone refers to it as transgender.
yeah,
Which she claims it's very cringe. And we see a moment where that has like a trans excited play on words in it, and you could see how cringe it was coming out of his mouth when he says it. As far as them getting out, they are confused about why or what the real purpose is. They're also very upset about Marie bailing on them and not
yeah,
trying to come back or even waiting for a moment to escape where all of them could go. Marie, the entire first episode, is more hiding out, has a couple of interactions with just a random kid who apparently is a starlighter,
yeah,
an activist. And there is this very heavy political push of starlighters versus homelanders,
yes,
if you will. Continuing from the boys, there's tension. There is a rhetoric that's being built of soups versus humans. What's the point of being a superhero, though, if you have no humans to protect? I mean, the term soups would have to change, wouldn't it?
yeah. Because it'd just be normal.
Yeah.
Without it. Basically, the humans are gonna become their slaves. Basically, is what Homelander
Yeah,
was.
that's what it sounds like, at least. Um, Obviously, the boys aren't going to let that happen,
Yeah.
but
Which I mean, seeing Homelander's, how he was brought up, he wasn't very well, raised. He was raised in a lab and was a lab rat, if you want to call
right.
it that. So, you know, the love that he did get was few and far between, and that's why he had that whole kind of weird mom-son kinda relationship with, Stillwell.
Madeline Stillwell, yeah,
Yeah, it was kinda cringy, and it was meant to be, but, he's just a boy trapped in a man's body, basically, is
right.
what he
He
is, but
still he also with Stan Edgar, he had that fatherly respect,
yeah,
if you
he
will, and even slight fear of disappointing him
yeah, he was
as
the
well.
like, the one man I guess you could really consider, like, a father figure in his life. Like,
Right.
he was one of the few people that had the balls to stand up to him, and I think Homelander respects him for it because he is one of the people that stand up to him.
Well, I think you'll find that he never really kills anyone who stands up to him.
That's
All
true.
the
I mean,
people that
he
outright stand up to him, he doesn't necessarily kill.
yeah, I mean, even the one woman in the lab, he just kinda locked her in the thing to just stay there for the rest of her life.
Yeah,
She was locked in there forever, so, yeah, he has a respect for power and authority, basically.
yeah,
But, yes, go sidetrack people, sorry.
yeah,
Going
there's
back
always plenty of that, but, yeah, so by the end of the 1st episode, we have, Emma and Jordan tracking down and finding Marie, trying to convince her to, come back, uh, and that's when Kate shows up and is trying to convince them that she is on their side. They
she
obviously don't believe her. Jordan knocks her away before she touches anyone, and she rips the back of her head open and is pouring blood. And Marie obviously tries at first to stop the blood, but can't really do anything without touching her.
yeah,
And that's kind of what puts the separation there, right? It's like there
yeah,
was no trust. They couldn't trust her to not, change their minds or
yeah.
feelings. And she now can't trust them because they left her
Left
to
her to
die.
die. And the thing that's weird is, like not weird, but Kate, tells him, like, "You're the reason why I got out," but, the trust has already been broken, so it's like I understand where both sides are coming from.
Right.
Not at least more so from Maria and the other side, where Kate, they kind of like the way they left it, they really made it seem like by the end of season 1 and, kind of going at the end of The Boys season 4, that she was a bad guy, even with Sam. They just
Yeah.
seem like they've gone dark, but
I
evidently
feel
not.
like she is more of a coward than anything.
Yeah,
What it feels like is that she will do anything that what she sees as authority figures tell her to do. She did it with the previous headmaster, where she was doing it with Luke, and then, of course, with Sam by the end of this past season and in The Boys, where she just kind of does whatever they say. And as a result, she is safe, sure, and that's the idea, right? I want everyone to stay safe. That's her thing. But she doesn't have a stance on morality.
yeah, and
She
that's the
does.
thing. She definitely does not hasn't really thought for herself, I guess, until, this point that we're seeing her where she said, "No, I'm doing it to try and get you." This is her thinking for herself, but now because of what just happened, her powers aren't working correctly, and she's also apparently it looks like she's kinda getting a little bit upset with the
With
whole Marie
everything.
situation.
Yeah,
Yeah, Marie situation, the fact that this guy's taking more of a liking to her and, him
right.
telling her that,
Well,
she's
that's
useless
yeah,
if she can't use her power. She's no more
yeah,
better than a human.
exactly. And that kind of brings us into the 2nd episode. So
Yes.
they were under the impression she was dead. And then it is revealed at the beginning of this next episode that she was in a coma. Um, and severely hospitalized. They weren't sure if she was going to survive. Emma does bring up the suggestion of finishing her off. Um, Good old Lil Cricket.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh boy.
yeah, that they all struggle to get back into the whole school thing. Um, they don't seem to be themselves anymore, with something bigger happening around them and them being in the center of it. whether they like it or not. They're also the guardians of Godolkin. They're the highest ranked students. So
Yeah.
the eye is always on them. With Marie back, there is a new class that Cypher is teaching. And it what he said about it actually really does make sense. It's something that they haven't truly explored, where he says, you guys know how to use your power, but you know why your power acts the way it does. Other than just saying, oh, I think about it and then it happens, to what deeper degree does it happen? How can you improve it? How do you know it can't go further?
It's kind of funny because he's kind of like becoming the evil Professor Xavier, not Magneto, because Magneto didn't necessarily have a school, but it's kind of
Right.
like he's the opposite of Professor X here. I mean, he can also use his legs, which
Yeah.
maybe that is it. Maybe he is a psychic. Maybe he is the reverse Charles Xavier.
Maybe. But that being said, he is pitting the students against each other.
Yeah,
Um,
survival
which,
of the fittest. It seems like.
yeah, it always has been that way, even since the first episode of the first season. They've all been pitted against each other, but not this brutally.
Yeah, it's very
Not,
extreme.
yeah, not bring in, very overpowered soup to start smashing on the students until they fight back.
Or if they die.
Yeah, exactly. He even said that they said, "Oh, well, didn't they broke that one kid's spine?" He's like, "Oh, he'll heal from it, I
Yeah, so
think."
it makes me wonder if that kid has, like, healing powers or something because
Maybe he doesn't at all.
they were too nonchalant about it. I'm like, "Yeah, no?"
Yeah. So, that being said, it feels like this is a setup to really just push Marie. This is his excuse, creating an elite class based on rankings. Um, but really, his interest is in Project Odessa, which is what they start really looking into, trying to figure out what this is about. That's where the second and third episodes
Episode.
really start to push into. And we do learn that Project Odessa is basically about a experiment that happened where a bunch of, I'm not sure if it was the women or the men that were affected with the Gem V, but there's, or at least a compound of Compound V where they used to allow people to have kids, specifically superpower kids, specifically almost like a designer drug where it's targeting the child to be very specific, have a specific power. Unfortunately, all but one of the children, the fetuses, died, and one
Yeah.
was born. And we have Marie learn this when she tracks down her aunt.
I think maybe the aunt is her real mother because they're surrogates. So maybe it was
That's
her
possible.
egg. Maybe it was her egg put into the mother.
Yeah. But what we learn when she finally does meet up with her is that she is the surviving child of Project Odessa. She herself is Odessa, if you will.
Yeah.
Um, but we also learned that as a result of this experiment, the real miracle, as was said, was that she had a younger sister.
Yes.
Um, it wasn't supposed to affect two children. It shouldn't have had lingering effects, rather.
Yeah.
And it did. We also learned that the aunt was watching, or I guess keeping her there away from Marie.
Yeah.
Um, we don't know exactly where she is currently. Um, she wasn't there when Marie showed up. So either she was just out at that time or something else is happening. But there's potential that she also has some powers.
Yes, but we don't know what those could be. Or, you know, who knows? My guess is that she I don't know. I wanna say that she doesn't, just because it would be kinda underwhelming, Marie's whole thing, but
Well,
no.
it depends because, I mean, after what happened to Marie and how she got it, maybe her sister would have either went through the same thing if she had the same powers based on the drugs that were
Yeah.
applied, administered. If she did, then did she, have better control? Um, or was it worse? Or, I would assume based on her living conditions, it wasn't worse. She didn't need to be locked up or anything. Um, but yeah, it's it's at least a new development, so we've learned something new. Whether or not they go anywhere with it is up to them. It doesn't necessarily have to be a make or break kind of arc. The real arc there is finding out that she was born from a drug.
Yes. And to her, that was a revelation. She didn't even know she was a surrogate or anything like that. But I don't know. What do you think? Do you think she is somewhere nearby? I mean, she's going to show up in this season for sure. She has to. But do you think she's going to be the counterpoint to Marie?
Not necessarily. We know that she has a disdain for Marie for what happened to the parents.
Yes.
We know that she hasn't, as far as we know, intentionally tried to make contact with Marie. So she could be harboring some kind of hate towards her, or maybe she did try and it was just cut off by Vought. That there's no real way to know that until it's explained, if it ever does get explained. Um, but then we also have the big bombshell of season three, episode three, where Jordan is on stage to talk about being number one and pushing all the uh, transgender pride. Um, and instead, Jordan chooses to use that platform to tell the truth, tells
Which
every,
right before this, she confesses her love. She, he, or they,
yes,
I guess, they confess because it is both of them. So they
yeah,
confess their love to Marie because Marie earlier, they have a little fun in the bedroom, and she
yes,
lets it slip that she's in love with them, and they are like had to think about it. And after coming to terms with it right before they get on stage, just basically say, yeah, I love you too. And basically, Marie gave them the courage to get up there and say what they're about to say. So I just want to give
right.
that context to people.
Yes, and as a result, they say, yes, Andre is dead. He died in prison, and that the Starlighters that were killed for attacking Kate were not the ones that attacked Kate at all. Jordan spills the beans and says it was me. The crowd obviously booing, the crowd very anti
Human.
human. There's a lot of anti-human rhetoric at the school. So yeah, there's uh there's a build to a couple of things now. We're going to have some students, sure, as we've learned, there were a couple of students that were pro Starlighters, putting up little signs. But there
Which
was
is a little
also,
subplot.
yeah, a little subplot, but only because there was two people specifically that we are aware of doing
Yes.
that. It could be more. Um, however, a lot of them are, attached to this idea that the Supes are just gods among men and should be treated as so. So, yeah, we will see what happens with that. I feel like there needs to be two full sides for there to be a real war, and in that school, most people are on just one side. So
Yeah.
it's
Which
going to be more of a underground club or resistance um, coming together.
yeah, which, Emma kind of has her own little side story, which is kind of a part of it. Her and Polarity go and to the archives looking for more about Mr.
Oh,
Godolkin.
right, when she's super high.
Yeah,
That is
which
that is
was
pretty funny.
hilarious. And they go
Yep.
there and they meet this one guy who had his own show, and he's not a fan of Polarity whatsoever because he treated him like crap. But, Emma's all like, "I love that," and, she's just being her Looney Tune self,
Yeah,
which is great.
fanboying like crazy. Yeah, no, that was so funny. And then, of course, when she gets super excited towards the end, when she finds the case file for the Project Odessa, she grows, and unfortunately, her clothes do not grow with her.
Yeah.
So she is high as a kite and enlarged, naked, in a very small enclosed room. And she does the whole boob lasers.
Yeah, and it was just so funny because Polarity's like, "What the heck?" Like, this is a
Yeah.
kid to him that, like, was with his kid, not together, but, hung out with them, and he just kinda, like, weirded out by the whole thing, and
Even when all of them get together in his dorm, or room, whatever the teachers have, um, he is forcing them out, and it feels very, Scooby-Doo almost, doesn't it? Where they're all coming together trying to, uh, unravel this plot, and he's the adult going, "This is a little weird for me. I wasn't a part of this, my son was, and these are my son's friends, sure, but, I'm still the adult here. Get the hell
yeah.
out of my room."
Yeah, they
Um,
definitely put him in, Chance's spot, uh, for this. And,
yeah.
you can see where it actually works. They did a really good job in, doing the switcheroo, you know, for respect's sake, and so far they're handling it pretty well. Kind
It
of like
does
how
feel a bit off that they were just thrown back into school. That's the only kind of negative or drawback. I feel like there was, probably something bigger that happened there, but they just couldn't do.
yeah,
Um, but outside of them just suddenly being back at school and everything's okay, at least about them being at school, um, it everything else seems to be put together really well.
yeah. I
Um,
mean, I for sure Cypher knows what's going on. I have no
oh
doubt in
yeah,
my mind that he knows that they've already found all this, and maybe he wanted them to. That's the thing. Maybe
sure.
this is all a part of his plan.
He's never been one to hide the truth, so, I don't see why it wouldn't be. The next question really is, though, what is the big plan? So,
Exactly. For all we know, maybe he is a good guy.
yeah, there's also I've considered that too. There's a possibility for that, but why is he getting tough on them? Why is he doing the anti-human thing, though? It
I don't
wouldn't
know.
make sense for him to be brainwashing these kids if he was really a good guy. It feels to me like he is related, if not the Thomas Godolking.
Yeah, I
Um,
thought that too.
uh, but he feels like he is trying to make everyone soups. Like maybe he is going to continue that um, experiment or just train of thought where everyone can be turned into a soup
The
in
only
one
thing
way or another.
that doesn't track right with that is why didn't he have a role in this in season 1? Because obviously there's other people in charge. You would think that he would have had something to do with it.
Well, I think it's because he's more of a behind the scenes kind of guy, as we saw with him. Anytime he was seen previously, it was always through a crack in the door.
Yeah.
He just feels like a businessman rather than, a spokesperson kind of thing.
And my
I
guess is that he knew about, the virus
if
because of
not
who he
being a
is.
part of its development.
Yeah, so maybe he's a wolf in sheep's clothing. In the forefront, he is the bad guy, in, people's minds, just so Homelander doesn't try and come and do whatever, derail his
Yeah,
real plans. But either way, he could still be a villain too and want to dethrone Homelander at some point anyway. And maybe that is what he's trying to do. He's trying to get Marie to be his ultimate weapon against Homelander.
there's a possibility. I mean, he clearly is an ambitious person. He clearly has a plan, and Marie is clearly a part of his plan. So, with her abilities, and with him alluding that she could possibly beat Homelander if she harnessed her powers, if she used them to the fullest potential, that clearly is a part of his plan,
Yeah. Or, because
or
it
at least
does.
a contingency.
Yeah, so I don't the thing is, more is to be revealed. We don't really know where this is gonna go. I'm excited. We are doing this the Sunday of these episodes coming out, so we're gonna probably do a final recap of, the other episodes, when this is over. The next episode just so happens to come out on my birthday, so, shout out to me. Woohoo! So, that is definitely something I will be watching on my birthday, even though I probably won't have time to do it, but I got time off. I'm gonna use it, and I'm gonna watch some Gen V. Um, so let's talk about, because we're kind of towards the end here. We pretty much covered our bases with the first three episodes.
So, what do you want to see? Or rather, who do you want to see?
I really want to see more Soldier Boy. I really do.
Ah,
Whether
yes.
I mean,
In
even
the
if
first season, he was titled Soldier Boyfriend
yes,
because he was Kate's, imaginary boyfriend.
yeah, dreamy, like the
Yeah.
hunka man she would have wanted. I I would actually love to see him as a puppet. I can't remember if they did that in the first
No, that
season. I don't
they
think they did,
didn't,
but it
but
would be funny to see a
yeah.
puppet version of him through Sam's eyes.
Or
It would
or
be
even
so funny.
Huey. That yeah, that any of that would be fantastic.
Mm,
Yeah, I would like to see Billy
yeah,
Butcher show up. I have a feeling that if he would, it would be with some kind of showdown with Scyther. So,
okay,
um, that being said, it's probably not gonna happen. I feel like Scyther is probably someone who's gonna be pushed into The Boys, the next season of The Boys, and if
yeah,
he were to show up, I feel like in Butcher's current condition, he'd just rip it in pieces.
yeah.
So,
I mean, we
uh
don't know what Cypher's powers are yet, though. Like I said,
exactly.
I'm assuming he has, ESP abilities or psychokinetic abilities, so, um, it's gonna be interesting. I would also like to I mean, we already got plenty of cameos already, but I would like to see maybe this be more streamlined and seamless going into the final season of The Boys. I'd like to see it just kind of like have a cliffhanger and then be immediately or somewhat immediately picked up in the next season of The Boys. I feel
Yeah.
like the first one was kind of disjointed a little bit from The Boys, yes and no, but I feel like this one, especially going into the final season of The Boys, and there's not going to be another season of Gen V to my knowledge. This is supposed to be the last season. I think, this would have to go just straight into it. I would actually like to see the Guardians of Godolkin maybe get their own suits because that'd be
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, that would be pretty cool, yeah.
Kind of, I would see maybe just I guess it would probably. I mean, maybe they'll get some other people to it because we had the two other girls. The Starlighter Resistance that are on campus. Maybe they join up. Very roguish powers. That's my thoughts. What about you?
Honestly, I would like to see more of the other students and what their powers are because I'm
Mhm.
feeling they're gonna be, really building Marie, and in order to do so, she's gonna have to be fighting against strong opponents. So with this new class that, the dean has created, it feels like the class is going to be more of a I'm going to be switching people out as soon as they become useless to the concept. So I feel like that we're going to see a lot of people coming in showing off different powers that she would have to find a way to, destroy them or overcome them in prep for whatever he has planned for her.
Yeah, because I almost feel like maybe he's trying to build his own personal army for himself because you know who knows
Well,
what
this
he might
I
make him do.
if he is related to or is Thomas Godolkin, then he is likely someone who has the ability to make the suit powers, hence Project Odessa.
Yeah,
And I feel like his if that is the case, him building up Marie is basically trying to see the limits of this power before trying to bestow it upon himself or even steal her power if
yeah.
that's possible.
Or yeah, like you said, that or mass produce it. I think that there could be a point where maybe she even turns bad. I don't think so, but they could do a whole bait and switch where, you know, freaking Kate turns good and then Marie goes bad. So that would be a kind of a conflict in
Yeah.
itself
Well, no,
too.
I mean, Kate's being betrayed as a bad guy right now, but she's not necessarily bad. She feels like she's doing everything right. So, I mean, I don't even think it's going to be a case of turning good or turning bad, or rather just who has, the ethical standing of the time based on the things that are happening.
All right. That's pretty much all I got. You got anything else?
No, I'm just excited to see where this goes. I mean, I would really like to be watching The Boys right now,
Yes,
but
I would prefer that
we have to
too.
wait yet another year for that.
You know what else
So
I'd be loving to watch? Invincible. I would be
Invincible,
loving to watch that too,
yeah,
which is another good one coming up. So we got a lot coming. Gen V is just starting. I'm excited. They left off the first 3 episodes were a great opener. Let's see if they can close it really well. And if you guys don't know us, we are Plot Hole Productions. You can check us out here on Spotify, YouTube, Instagram. Don't be afraid to, like, comment, and subscribe. And once again, I'm your host, Nate Slater,
and I'm Chris Sambrook, and we'll catch you in the
in the
void.
void.